Hello friends and welcome to my channel. Today we're taking a look at the new October Club Kits from Spellbinders, and I'm really excited to share these 3 cards with you today. So each one was created with different clubs of the month, and Spellbinders has an amazing subscription program that is cancelable at any time. Today I'm going to be mainly focusing on the clear stamp and die of the month, and there's so many fun things that you can do with it. Okay, let's get to creating some cards. I'm starting out with the clear stamp of the month. This one has some really cute friends on it, a snowman, a bunny, a bear, and a penguin. Then you have some amazing sentiments as well, and I love their playful font. This is the first time that I'm opening the package, so I'm going to go ahead and get this set up on my MISTI. I have some 110-pound Nina Solar white cardstock here that I'm going to be using to stamp them on. I'm starting out with Gina K Designs Amalgam Ink in Whisper. Then I'm going to switch over to Amalgam Ink in Obsidian after I have them colored. This is a really good way to make sure that your ink doesn't run with your alcohol markers, because this Whisper ink is a really light beige, so you can just see the lines that you're coloring in. And it's really such an amazing transformation when you get done coloring and then you go back over and stamp it with black. Okay, so I'm using my Olo markers here to color in each of my 4 friends. And I didn't do a ton of shading on them, just a little bit, but I wanted to really focus on the colors. So I used a really nice kind of French blue, a mauvey pink, a really nice grassy kind of green, and a light pale teal. And those 4 colors together is what I concentrated on when I was creating my backgrounds too. So I really love coloring these in. I find that the clear stamp of the month gives me the opportunity to use my alcohol markers and try those out, because I am definitely not an expert when it comes to coloring, but it's very relaxing for me to color with these clear stamps of the month. I'm quite new to alcohol markers, and I decided to invest in Olo marker, and I really love the way that they color. I am excited that they may be having fine tips coming out, but if you're curious to know what colors I use to color in my illustrations here, be sure to check out the video description below, where you will find the entire supply list, and I've called out those marker colors there. Again, little tiny bits of shading here, especially on that round tummy of the snowman, but really nothing serious here. Now this is where the real transformation comes in. So I'm inking my stamp up again, and I didn't move my stamp image from my MISTI, but I'm inking it up again with Amalgam Ink in Obsidian. And this is going to give you those really fine detail black lines, and it totally changes the look of the stamped image, and I love that. I just think it looks so fabulous. I'm going to ink the bottom stamp up one more time just to catch a couple of those really thin lines that I didn't get. But look at how adorable these cute little friends are. I love that the bunny and the penguin have little baked goods. It's just adorable. With the sentiments, these little critters, and the die, it's only $17.50, so I think this is a really great bargain for this stamp and die combo. Since I have my MISTI out, I'm going to go ahead and stamp all of my sentiments so that I can have some on hand for whatever I might need. Again, I'm using Amalgam Ink in Obsidian to stamp those, and now it's time for me to take out the coordinating dies. There is a die for every single sentiment and image in this set, and I love that about the clear stamp and die of the month. It makes it so easy to cut out your sentiments, cut out what you color just perfectly every single time. And I'm using my Scout die cutting machine here to do that because I have these smaller dies. Now I'm pulling out the embossing folder of the month. This is a standard embossing folder of the month. This is the least expensive subscription and so well worth it. I'm using Gina K Designs white pigment ink to rub it along the top so that I can make those debossed surfaces white. They'll be lighter than the raised surfaces on the card. Have to make sure that your card is centered first before you put that top down. So make sure it lines up with the lines on that argyle background, especially if you have lines on your background. You really want to make sure that your cardstock is lined up properly before you close that. Once you have it closed, hold that down while you put it through your die cutting machine, and look how great that turned out. I love that. It's a very subtle difference between the embossed and debossed surfaces, but the debossed are slightly lighter, and I think it really helps that pattern to stand out. I've put all of my stamped images in a craft stacks tray to keep them aside while I get a little bit inky here with the BetterPress of the month. This is the registration plate for the BetterPress of the month. That shows you how you can create the plaid pattern on any background. This looks so great. You can do it in so many different color combinations. So the two longer pieces are for the vertical lines, and I'm just lining those up with the lines as shown on that registration plate. You can see there that I have it taped down with the Best Ever craft tape to hold that clear acetate in place. Now that my BetterPress plates are in place, I'm going to ink those up with BetterPress ink in French blue here, and then I'm going to move to Leaf, and this is a nice bright green. Before you put your top on, you want to really make sure that those are nice and straight, and I'm wiping off that acetate to make sure there's no excess ink on the sides. My BetterPress porcelain cardstock is on the top, and I'm running that through my die cutting machine. I love the fact that this gives you a really beautiful and colorful letterpress plaid background. So I'm adding one more vertical stripe in here, and I'm using strawberry for this stripe. This will give that nice rosy kind of pink color on my background. Again, I'm wiping off that acetate there so there's no excess ink, and I'm placing the top back on the BetterPress platform, and I'm running that through my Platinum 6 machine. Bringing it back, and now I have a lovely dark pink stripe. Now it's time for the horizontal stripes. So there are two different horizontal stripes that are shorter, and I'm using, again, French blue here to do the thicker one, and now strawberry for the thinner one. Placing my platform top back on, making sure that I don't push down. I'm letting my Platinum 6 do all the work here and gently lifting that up. And I just think that looks fantastic. But one more line to go. Let's do one more in Leaf toward the top, just making sure that that is nice and straight, and you have those grid lines there. You also have the clear acetate lines have straight lines on there so that you can make sure that it is nice and straight. And there you go. There's my plaid background. Now I've grabbed my Perfect Touch rectangles and tag dies. I love these because they have a really great texture on the edges, and I'm cutting a piece of vellum out of one of those. This is what I wanted to soften my background a bit for my bear so he could go on the plaid, but it just wasn't soft enough for me. So I used a piece of cardstock behind the vellum to create a frame that my bear would sit on, and he's popped up with some dimensional foam adhesive. I love the way that looks framed with the plaid background. To finish off this card, I'm just going to use a few of the Crystal Mix Color Essentials gems around my cute bear. And I really love the way he turned out. I love the plaid background and how it coordinates with him. My embossed background is dry, so I wanted to go ahead and place that on a frame of cardstock in that lovely watermelon color. I'm going to go ahead and adhere that with tape adhesive from scrapbook.com and center that in the middle of that frame. I really like that nice watermelon frame around there. For this one, I'm going to keep it fairly simple. So instead of creating a frame around my friends, I'm just going to have them floating. And that's because I have a lot of texture back there and I really don't want to cover that up. So this one is going to be the most simple card I create today. Nothing really happening besides that embossed background, my friends, and this sentiment. I just think it's super cute, and you can always choose to keep it simple if you don't have a ton of time to put together a card. This is just another reminder that embossing folders can really make for a simple card, because once you have an embossed panel, especially if it's one of those standout embossing folders, you don't really need much on top of it to create a gorgeous card. My sentiment is merry everything and happy always, which I think is just a very cute sentiment for these two friends. And I really love this card. All I had to do was add a few more of those Crystal Mix Color Essentials gems around them. I was cleaning up for the day when I realized I had just one little friend left, this sweet little bunny, and I wanted to use him. So I created the same plaid using my BetterPress of the month, and this time I cut it down a lot smaller so that I had a wider frame. Then I used those Perfect Touch rectangles and tags to create a tag for him to set on so that he stood out from that plaid background. I really love the way that that one turned out too. So there you have it, 3 sweet and merry cards created using the Clear Stamp and Die of the Month Club from Spellbinders, along with some help with the BetterPress of the month and the embossing folder of the month to create those beautiful backgrounds. I really love these happy cards. I love their color scheme, and I hope you'll check out the Spellbinders Club Kits. They are an amazing value, and I swear you will love creating with them. Be sure to check out all of the supplies that I used in my video description below. Hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video, and leave a comment telling me which card was your favorite. Thanks so much for watching, and happy creating, friends.